G'day! In today's video I'm opening up an iPad Pro 12.9 inch with the model number A1652. This one is in for a screen replacement. I should be able to use a thin metal pry tool and some isopropyl alcohol and my blue heat pad here, which the heat pad's been sitting at 75 degrees Celsius. It's getting it very toasty. And with a combination of heat and isopropyl and a thin pry tool, I should be able to get into this relatively easily. Pry that into there. Now the heat's definitely doing its job. This is just allowing me to slice straight through. But without this particular heat pad, this job does become considerably more difficult to do. You can use like a heat gun or a hairdryer, something like that, but you do have to keep the heat on there fairly consistently, or at least to get it to slice like it's doing right now. Set up. Crumbly corner. Just tweeze this to get that bit out. Okay. Now I should be able to start lifting some of this. I'll use the tweezers to lift
Those emails that are on there that I've got saved, please do not wipe any of that out, will you, if you can, please?
Oh, I'm not anticipating deleting anything.
Because a lot of those emails are very important emails.
Yep.
Yeah, righto.
Okay. Since it's such a large panel, usually it does have a fair bit of flexibility to it. There we go. Now I want to slide this forward because the connectors are located around here, which makes them somewhat challenging to access. Fold it like that. You can access the 3 screws there. They all look to be a Phillips head. One. Two. The last one. And 3. There we go. The stress on that just lifted up and disconnected the cable. Get a fingernail under there. Just better flick that up. There we go. Lift up the screen from there. Next up, what I want to do is clean up the adhesive that's already here. Fresh adhesive normally makes the screen stick down a bit better. Use one of these, both flat. Okay. Go. I'm going to use a little one to go around it as well, just to get the dirt out of the corners. So now I'm pretty happy with that. If you've got glass shards everywhere, what I'd recommend using is an old toothbrush and just go around it. And that should clear the majority of the shards out of the way. Next up, let's compare new screen and old screen. Put that down here. The replacement screen that I purchased already had these cables already attached. Some don't have this board. So, do we want to take the tape off? Try and move this if I can. Go, that's moved. I do also need to move the home button off this one to the new one. Sometimes can be a bit tricky. And the heat has helped make this nice and tacky. Take that off. Onto the new. This is the part you're going to have to be the most cautious of. We need to move the home button and we need to glue it onto the new screen. So what we should be able to do is hopefully break the adhesive seal on the old part of it. And just pry underneath the metal bracket that's here. Probably will crack the glass. Go. Let's get to that. Be careful, it does have adhesive over the flex cable connect here. Go, that's got it off. So there is the bracket behind the button. There's a metal bit in the center of that that pushes on here, which activates it as a home button. I should be able to lift that up. Now there is this little black ring here. Typically you want to have that still there, because it helps pack out the button. Put that aside. Do need to disconnect the flex cable. So lift this tape up. Put it aside. Lift up the little lever and pull this back. There we should be okay just to pry and lift. If you do damage this cable, you will lose Touch ID. You can get a replacement button, but it won't have the Touch ID function. Go to here. Next up, I want to have this in the heat pad, but only just enough that it heats up this bottom section, because that's the part that's going to be glued. So I have this angled a bit, like that. I want to take that adhesive off there. this here. Actually, I do want to glue that first. I'm going to lift this off. I'm going to use some B7000 glue. Put that there on the ring. Where the ring's going to go. I'll put more there again. The button, so the ring's going to stick to the glass, and then the ring's also going to stick to the button itself. Otherwise, if you push the button every time, it's just going to sink in and won't be any good at all. Gasket. Go. That up. I want to line that button up. I do want to get this in the right spot too. Flip that over and have a look. We should be sitting nice in there. Back over. Now I want to stick this down. I can replace the adhesive on it. This one's got plenty of tack to it. So I'm just going to line it up over the top. Push down. Okay. And before you put it on, you want to flip it over and make sure you can physically press the button. You may have to slide the bracket forward or back, depending. At the moment, I think I need to slide that forward or towards the bottom of the tablet. Still getting nothing. No. There. Maybe need to push that further down. What I'll do here is, with this I'll have it reconnected, just to also test out the home button prior to gluing it all down. It's also good to test out the screen prior to actually getting the job done, just in case you've got a dud screen. Now, it's going to be a bit difficult to capture on film, sorry. And we are reconnected. Just better lay it down flat. Now we'll put this on charge. I do believe it's dead flat. And give that button a test out. And the screen. So after a bit of battle, I finally get this functioning as it should. It doesn't help that this particular button is worn. So on the underneath the button, underneath the metal brackets on the button, there is a almost looks like gold, but a yellowy kind of bit. And on this particular one, that had worn down to be solid yellow. Normally there's a dark coloured centre. This one did not have that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a thin bead of glue all around the frame of this phone, of the iPad Pro, and get it ready to stick the screen down. If I can find where to put my glue, here we are, this stuff. So I'm just going to put that all along the outer perimeter. Just a bead of it all the way around. You can choose to use double-sided tape here. But I find the overall finish using the glue, A, it's easier, B, the finish is usually better because you can fully seal it up. Go all the way around. The tricky part of putting the screen connector back on and putting the metal bracket over the top of it. So how will I attempt this again? This way. And a Phillips head screwdriver. Alright, now on my angle I can see it. Sorry, I can't quite capture this in the footage. I managed to line up and push down both the connectors, which gave me the outcome of there. Next up I should be able to sit the screen there for a second. Bracket may be able to sit on there for me. And all the screws look to be of a similar length. Ah, bugger. It's falling down the bottom here. So right now I'm just holding the screen up. Just enough to get one of the screws in. As putting these screws back in, it's a fair bit harder than taking them out, that's for sure. As I say about the screw length, no, they are not all the same. Too short, too long. Lift the screen up and fold it forward. That usually gets you a little bit more space. There we go. If I lay this down flat, fold it down, should be able to stick in just fine from there. So with it laying flat, I should just be able to slide my hand around, make sure that the screen is resting right. I'll put this under clamps after. But if you're just double-sided taping it, it should be pretty stuck and right to go to begin with. Just feeling around, does feel nice. And pretty much, well actually, I am swiping off a bit of adhesive there. That's fine, a bit of runoff. Means it's stuck. And same with over here, looking pretty good. Same with this side, bit of excess. Well, that one there is one repaired iPad Pro first generation, 12.9. They are very large. Bye.